Now, the Kumasi Technical University chapter of the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana says the newly appointed Director General of the Ghana Education Service holds the requisite knowledge to ensure technical and vocational education thrives in the country. This comes on the back of an industrial action of 3 teacher unions in protest against the appointment of Dr. Eric Nkansa. The union claims the appointee lacks experience in the field, but the teachers at the Technical University are touting the achievement of the lecturer. Dr. Bismarck Kwaku Parker is chairman of TUTAG at Kumasi Technical University.
The conditions of service for TUTAG members expired in 2016. It took the intervention of the National Labour Commission in 2021 to activate engagement with the government. It was subsequently directed that the reviewed terms be rolled out from August 2021, with January 2023 being the implementation date. President of TUTAG, Professor Collins Ameyao, explains the component is missing from the budget of the universities due to refusal of the government to issue letters to the universities.
I struggle to understand why government will be dragging its feet, especially on the IGF conditions of service. And we have picked intelligence, I have indicated that our VCs, I would say some of the VCs, are lobbying to defer these payments to January 2023, which means that our colleagues who retired last year will not benefit. And that is unfair. Somebody will come and work here for over 30 years and retire with 3 months gross salary as his retirement package. That is highly unfair. And I'm calling on the VCs to do the needful. If they think they are not behind this, they should write a letter and copy us. They should write to the government that government should approve the conditions of service and copy us, and we'll take them out of the equation.
The association has kicked against unilateral variation of some allowances by the government. Professor Ameyao calls for its reversal.
We wish to reiterate our earlier position that the decision by the government to unilaterally vary our conditions of service is illegal and must be reversed with immediate effect. Meanwhile, TUTAG has taken the right steps to bring to the attention of the government and the National Labour Commission. On 26 September 2022, its rejection of government's refusal to adjust the off-campus and vehicle maintenance allowance rates using the reviewed export price at that time. Unfortunately, government has refused to engage TUTAG, much similar to the attitude they keep displaying towards UTAG and the other labor unions. Even though some of the technical universities have commenced the 2022-2023 academic year, the 2021-2022 book and research allowances are still outstanding for majority of our members. TUTAG vehemently registers its displeasure with the unprecedented delays that have characterized the payment of the 2021-2022 book and research allowances. Government must take note of the overwhelming support for a strike action at a recently held Congress of TUTAG in Bolgatanga should government fail to address these concerns or engage TUTAG to have an amicable settlement of these issues within the next 10 days.
For JoyNews, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
So on the strike declared by the 3 teacher unions, let's take you to the Northern region and speak to our correspondent Martina Bugri for more details or latest on that particular action. Martina, thanks for joining us. What can you report from that side of the country?
Through the metropolis, most of the schools are locked. The public schools are actually not working. And so you go through school after school and it's locked. You might find the security man rooming. It looks like they are adhering to the strike action 100% in the Tamale metropolis so far, the places that I have visited. I spoke to one of the head teachers who would not like to be known, and he says that it's better government listens to their concerns and then they do what they want. And then they can resolve these things within a day or two so that the students can go back to school. They think that it's not in the interest of the school children. And once they agree with their leadership, the staff expertise in the field of education should be the one heading them and not somebody from the finance sector, they think.
So what are the pupils doing? What did you see them do mainly?
Most of them did not come to school today. Most of them, those who came, just came through, and then they are heading back home because no one is in the school. The schools are locked up, so you come and then there's no place to sit. So literally, they are either returning home or they didn't come at all.
Have we heard parents and their reaction to this particular development?
Parents think that, yes, it's not a good thing, the strike is not a good thing, but they also think that the teachers have a case and government should listen to them so that they can have their children go back to school. Some have had to find other ways of people taking care of their children whilst they are at work, because normally at this time of the day, the children will be in school and they only pick them after 2. But now they have to find an alternative way of having the children being taken care of at home whilst they are in school, and that is their main concern.
So once that is done, obviously the children will find something to do. In your rounds, what did you see children mainly engaged in as they did not go to school?
I found some, there's a stream around, before I get to my office, there's a stream. I found some of them in the, I also find some of them on trees while I was going. And so they are just scattered around, just taking advantage of the teachers not being in school and giving their own things, which the teachers themselves also think that it is not good for the children.
So can we conclude that all schools in the metropolis where you are have shut down because of this?
Schools, because I've not been able to go to all schools, but largely those are quite many, and they are all closed.
All right, so that's Martina Bugri there. Anas Sabet also joins us on the phone with details from where he is. Anas, where have you been to? What can you tell us?
I've been to about 5 different schools this morning. I've been to the Jaffa Community School. I was there yesterday. I visited the school this morning. So I've been to the Zongo School. I've been to the Amidia Basic School, and a number of others. And all the schools I have visited, the schools closed. They are under padlock. I did not spot a single student or as we saw yesterday. Yesterday when I went, I saw a number of students and the family were around before they closed the school, or they used to go back to their various schools.
Okay, Anas, kindly speak up for us so we can fully follow what you're telling
us. So I was saying from my text this morning, all the schools I've visited are closed. Yesterday when I went there, I met a number of pupils and some head teachers. The generation is different today. All the schools I've been to this morning, the Zungo School, the Jayako Community School, the Amedia School, Al-Khairia School, all these schools this morning, my check, so I visited there, and I didn't spot a single teacher or the people. They are all asked not to come to school today from what the teachers or the head teachers told them yesterday. They told them to monitor the various radio stations, and as and when they hear that the strike action is over, then they should return. So yes, from that particular information they gave to the people, so none of them or almost all of them were not in school this morning. As I checked around.
All right. Mostly when this happens, parents do have a say. What have you heard parents say about this particular development?
Yes, from yesterday I've engaged a number of parents. Their concerns have to do with how these pupils are going to be engaged or where they will be taking them. Most of them, Richmond is a market area or a commercial town, and most of these parents find themselves in the Richmond Central Market, and now that the schools are closed, the parents are worried. They don't know whether to find caretakers to take care of them at home, especially the younger ones, because they can't give them most of the market. It is not safe. So that is a major concern of some of the parents I spoke with from yesterday. They don't know what to do now, whether to stay home and not go to the market because of the kids, or move along with the kids to their various workplace or the market center. So that is the major concern of parents that I've been engaging with from yesterday.
All right, that's Anat Sabit, our Bono East regional correspondent. Let's cross over to my colleague Richard Kojo, who is in Kanda, to check on how schools there are also reacting to this particular development. Richard, what can you tell us?
Kojo, we are in the Kanda AMA Basic School. It's actually a cluster, and so you see the Ring Road East Junior High School as part of this cluster. The school is virtually empty. The classrooms are without any academic activities. We can see no sign of any teacher here, but the school pupils are here. Now, some have left, others are actually here because they have to enjoy their school feeding, and so they just rang the bell and then they started eating. Apart from this activity, all that you see on this campus is the playing of football, running around by the kids and all of that. The teachers say they are not going to class because they are on strike. Before I came to this place, I went to the Newtown Basic School, the experimental school there, and at the junior high school level, it was a headmaster that was handling the entire JHS block because they have been instructed by the Ghana Education Service to keep the schools open and not to close the school. And so he is there managing the entire situation. At the primary school as well, it is some of the people's... Okay, so at the Newtown Primary School, the students are still learning. Some of the teachers were in class when they were assisting them. So let me engage some of the school pupils. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Why are your teachers?
Sir, please, I don't know.
Did they come to school today?
No, sir.
Yesterday too?
No, sir.
So what have you been doing the entire day?
Sir, please, we was in the class and they come and locked the door.
You were in the class and they came to lock the doors?
Yes. It was break and we go out for break.
Okay. So is it lunch time or breakfast?
Yes.
Okay. So you're enjoying your meal?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. So let me try speaking with more of the school people. Come. Don't run away from me. What's your name?
My name is Sandra.
Sandra. Why are your teachers?
They are not there.
They are not there. What have you been told? Where are they?
They have gone to strike.
They are going to strike?
Yes.
They've gone on strike, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So what have you been doing ever since you came to school today? Tell me.
We have been playing and we play football too.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
You wish every day were today, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want your teachers back?
We want our teachers back.
Okay. All right. So what are you telling your teachers and government?
I'm telling them that they should come to school and come and show us things so that we'll learn.
Okay. So this is one of the school pupils here telling me a lot about what they have been through. So tell me, what's your name?
My name is Mozambique Osman.
Okay. So what have you been doing today?
We have not been learning, but we wish our teachers were in school today to teach us, because we will lose a lot before our teachers will come back. And because I don't see if the president we are pleading the president to bring us to do what our teachers need, because some of the parliamentarians, their students are not attending government school. We are the ones attending the government, and it will affect us. It will not affect them. So their future is further than us. We are now coming into the future. So they should help us, and we are pleading them to make our teachers wish for them. That is what we are pleading the government to fulfill. But we heard that they are going for a meeting today, and we know that they will bring a positive answer for us.
Hey, how did you know all of that they were going for a meeting today?
And
You listen to the news a lot?
yes, I listened to the news because yesterday I heard the news, and we are all sad yesterday because we knew that today, yesterday will be a better day for us. We came to school, we did not learn anything. None of the teachers were in the school. Most of us were misbehaving on the compound. That's not good for us, and we need to improve our life. So we are pleading in the government to bring us back our teachers.
As we speak, the students have started swarming around us. They want to know what exactly is happening here. So when you get closer, they try running away. But the situation is that there are no classes, there are no academic activities that are currently ongoing. Some of the classrooms are locked, others are also open, but you find no academic activity ongoing. And so, Kojo, that is the situation here at the Kanda AMA cluster of schools.
Joe Inyako from the Kanda AMA Basic School telling us what's happening there. Well, we'll keep tabs on this particular developing story, and we'll let you know whatever comes up in it. But to other stories, the Catholic Bishops' Conference is taking a swipe at the government for failing to engage in broader consultation in fixing the economic situation of the country. The bishops say until government realizes the need to draw the expertise of others in its economic and social decisions, the country may head towards disaster. President of the conference, Most Reverend Philip Name, made this disclosure at the annual plenary assembly of the Bishops' Conference at Donkokrom in the Eastern Region. Correspondent Kofi Sian reports.
This year's annual plenary assembly, which is under the theme for a synodal church communion, participation and mission in the light of the new evangelization in Ghana, was hosted by the Donkokrom Vicariate of the Church. The conference seeks to take stock of the church's activities and deliberate on issues of national concern. In his address, the president of the conference, while urging the government to eschew acts of nepotism, called on it to, as a matter of need, take another look at involving civil society organizations, the church, and other political parties in the ongoing IMF negotiations.
As a matter of necessity, engage the civil society organizations to improve the economic and social situation of the country. The CSOs, because of the nature of their work, have knowledgeable and competent persons on every sector of the economy who will be more than willing to offer their expertise in the service of the nation. Some of these CSOs can be part of negotiations or the signing of economic agreements between the government and other agencies. For instance, the government could involve some of them in the IMF negotiations or programs. Also, other political parties could be consulted on the national policies, even if they are in opposition.
Most Reverend Philip Name also cautioned against diverting the national cake for few friends and family members.
Development should be a common matter for all of us, whether we are priests, religious, politicians, or ordinary lay faithful. In other words, the expectation of this team is that if you are a politician, in spite of the great temptations that you will meet in the day-to-day execution of your work, we do not expect you to steal because you know Christ. We do not expect you to divert property which belongs to the common good for a selected few friends and family members. This is what the synodal process is calling on all of us to do.
For his part, the Eastern Regional Minister, Seth Echampon, assured that the Akufo-Addo government is employing pragmatic solutions to fix the current economic situation.
We all know that the country is currently going through economic crisis, largely occasioned by external factors. However, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in his address to the nation on Sunday, 30th October 2022, outlined some pragmatic measures being implemented by the government to ameliorate the suffering Ghanaians are going through. I wish to assure you that government remains committed to exploring all workable avenues and solutions in dealing with the current economic difficulties.
For Joy News, Kofi Sian Donkokrum.
Now, laborers and merchants of building materials are lamenting hikes in prices of cement, nail, and other building materials. Within this year, the increment in cement prices, most especially, have slowed some construction projects and adversely affected value chain actors. Nanabuache Dankwa Yadom put a spotlight on the issue.
The high increase in building materials, particularly cement, is affecting labor costs. Today in the Ashanti region, contractors and some owners of cement factories share their plight with us.
The price per 50-kilogram bag of cement currently sells at 95 Ghana cedis from about 50 Ghana cedis at the beginning of the year. Elvis Osei Safo is the CEO of July 08 Cement Company in Kumasi. He says increases in building materials is a combination of factors, including sharp depreciation of the cedi and the cost of fuel.
We are bearing the brands, the customers too are facing it. I worry a lot about myself, as well as my customers and my workers. Now we have stopped thinking about profits. We are thinking about survival. We are thinking about how to float. We know this may pass, this too shall pass, but we don't know when. Because let's say your salary was 5,000 in a month, even back in January. 5,000 in a month, you could buy maybe 100 bags per month. Now 5,000, you will buy, what's the price now? 100 cedis. So you're buying 50 bags.
Laborers working on a construction site in the Echimakwa district expressed displeasure on how the hike in cement prices is affecting them. Eric Boateng, also a construction laborer for several years, says coming by a job is a challenge.
These days, we don't get work because contractors use their money for cement and other materials which are expensive.
Because cement,
if you don't accept the little they give you, the job can be taken away from you.
Mario Wusu, who is putting up a building, is displeased some landlords have increased rent, citing rising cost of cement as a factor. She wants the government to intervene.
Cement, now 30 cedi.
Cement used to be sold at 30 cedis, but it has now jumped to 92 cedis. Government must do something about it. We are unable to rent houses.
Reporting for Joy News, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom, Abebu.
Now, Ghana and the United Kingdom have reaffirmed their partnership to deal with climate change adaptation and resilience. This came up at a meeting at the sidelines of the 27th UN Climate Change Conference of Parties, COP27, currently underway in Egypt. Joy News' editor Evans Mensah is attending the conference and joins us on Zoom with details. Evans, what more has been happening? Any details of this partnership?
So this morning, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Minister was at an event on the back of the launch yesterday by the President, reaffirming government's commitment in partnership with the United Kingdom to not only to protect the environment, but also compensate farmers who, through farming practices, also contribute to the degradation of the forest, etc. So that arrangement has kick-started today. There was an hour conversation about how Ghana and the United Kingdom can work to do this, provide incentives for farmers in particularly also in the cocoa sector, where we've seen that I'm saying ravage in some of the forests. But also providing these incentives to the farmers, yes, who continue to grow their cocoa, but whilst they do that, they have an extra incentive because of some monetary benefits that they get to, while doing that, also protect the environment. And there's also a strong message today from Ghana about ensuring that in doing this, countries and the partners do not work in silence, but work with the local communities, instead of dictating to them how to protect the environment, because they are on the ground on a daily basis, growing crops, working within the forest reserves, etc. But the overwhelming position of the countries around the table, including Ghana, is that the rich countries like the UK, the rich countries like the UK must put their money where their mouth is. In essence, they must fund some of these climate interventions, considering that the West is a significant contributor to climate change, and Ghana and many African countries contribute absolutely negligible to the destruction of the environment through emissions of CO2.
So we've had discussions about, like you alluded to earlier, that they should put monies where their mouth are. What has been the commitment from these developed countries as to how they can help developing economies like Ghana to fight climate change?
The connection isn't great, but if you can hear me, great. I presume you're asking how these rich countries, a commitment for them to assist countries like Ghana to deal with climate change. Well, it comes down really to this commitment, this historic commitment now, which we are going to see ironed out today in the next few days here at the COP, for the rich and the poor country to sit at the table and negotiate what they are calling the loss and damage compensation package. This has been something that the rich countries have been avoiding for quite some time, more than a decade after the rich countries promised $100 billion to fund, climate adaptation and help countries like Ghana deal with the impact of climate change. We've seen that the rich countries have failed to keep up and honor that pledge. So the countries are not going to sit, rich countries on one end, the poor countries mostly impacted by climate change on the other end, and negotiate in terms of this loss and damage fund. And Ghana obviously is also pitching in there, strongly expected to get its share of this to deal with the environmental impact of climate change that we've seen. This is going to be a very tough negotiation, but the rich countries aren't prepared, as we've seen, the lack of commitment to put in the money. But also because of where the global economy is right now, every country is dealing with their own internal unique challenges. By the way, our president will be speaking within the next 30 minutes, addressing the world at the world stage here in COP27. And we expect him to talk about this, to talk about the West's commitment to helping countries like Ghana deal with the impact of climate change. I just finished listening to one of the countries here make an important statement. The president is speaking as we speak right now, actually, breaks. The president is speaking live right now as we speak, in the very moment as we speak, right? He's addressing the world now. And he's going to make it the point. One of the countries before him, I think the president of the good people of Bulgaria was making the point that he nearly didn't show up here because of the economic challenges. And yet the West is telling countries like Ghana that we should abandon our natural resources like oil and gold because of the comes with significant destruction of the environment. If you're going to do that, where are we going to get the money to develop? And we expect that the president, as he speaks currently, will be making a point about that and getting to the table to negotiate. This is going to be a pretty tough negotiation, but Ghana is expecting a share of this 100 billion if the West is committed to.
And before the COP27, we had issues of the African message. Have we had a hint of how Africa intends to push its united message to the world, even though every part of the globe is now fighting its own internal economic situations?
I mean, so there's a reason why Egypt, an African country, is hosting the COP. And the strategy for the Egyptians and the African, backed by the African Union and the many sub-regional bodies, is implementation. The sense you get listening to the African leaders, and the president speaking right now, he's talking about that, is that there's been so much talk over the last several decades when countries, the parties have met at COP, at these conferences about commitment pledges. Very little action though, and so the overriding position of the African countries here is moving from talk to action. And when you hear the African leaders speak, the primary thing that they keep pushing is that the West must now put their money where their mouth is. They are contributing 95% of the global emissions. Africa is just under 4%. And so they bear the responsibility to fix the problem and have to put in the funds needed. And that has been the united position of the Africa here. And Egypt is leading it. Implementation is the focus of the COP now. We don't want pledges anymore. And that is why there's an agreement that the two sides will sit and iron out some hard truths about how to proceed. The president just finished speaking, by the way, addressing the world on climate change. I'm pretty sure we'll get to hear a bit more of what he just said there in the last 3 minutes.
Okay. Evans, I'm grateful that you could join us from Egypt with the latest on the COP27. So that Joy News editor Evans Mensah will be getting more from him in our subsequent bulletins. This is still the News Desk. We'll take a quick break. When we come, we'll bring you latest from the world of business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana is using this year's Bankers Week to deliberate on sustainable ways of operation for industry players to support economic growth. The move is to improve professionalism in the financial sector to boost confidence in the midst of economic challenges. Speaking to Joy Business ahead of the banking conference, which forms part of the 26th Bankers Week, Chief Executive of the Institute, Robert Jatto, said bankers have a role to play in ensuring that the industry is sustainable.
I think that ethics, professionalism, and ESG is really about sustainability of the banking sector, of the economy as a country. And if we take the Institute, we are mandated to educate and to also regulate the practice of banking profession in Ghana. And that requires us to be the voice of professionalism and ethics. And really, if you look at where we have come from as a banking sector, it's clear that we need to put ethics very high on the agenda, and even as we develop people to be more competent bankers. But ESG is key, because if you think about it from governance perspective or even from social and environmental perspective, it is one that presents us opportunities, but it's also then saying how do we bring it to the individual level and organizational level and making sure that we are doing banking in a very responsible way. So these are really very important thematic areas that we need to pay attention to, not just as bankers, but also as a country.
Well, in other news, businesses are saying the 2022 budget failed to address various concerns faced by various sectors of the economy. That is one of the talking points from last night's Joy Business pre-budget forum, where the Chamber of Commerce and Industry described the 2022 budget as the worst in 30 years. We can hear from Mark Bedu-Abuaje, who is Chief Executive Officer.
It's been negative. I think that probably is the worst budget performance for the past 30 years. Why am I saying so? Let's compare the budgeted figures to the actual figures as at September, because that is where the figures are available. If you look at all the macroeconomic indicators, it's obvious that we are not going to achieve even one of the targets, even the revised ones. For inflation, for instance, we targeted 8 plus or minus 2.
Under 10%.
Under 10%. And the revised one was 28.5. As at now, it's 37.2. And the likelihood that it will go up again is there, looking at the pass-through effect of all the things that are happening in terms of increases in fuel prices and also lorry fares and other things. So obviously, we are not going to achieve that. If you look at the policy rate also, for instance, it was 14.5% at the beginning of the year. At the moment, it's 24.5%. And what that means is that interest rate will definitely go up. And we've seen the reference rate at the last October figure at 30.52. And that is just the basic or the basis for which they set interest rate. So interest rate for now is around 35 to 40%.
And that's your business update for now. The news continues after this break.
Welcome back from the break. Time for us to do some sports now. And it's 12 days to the World Cup. Lawrence is here with the latest. Lawrence, good morning.
Good morning, Brace.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so we have 12
days
more days to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we know so far?
In this period, you know, teams are rushing in releasing their squads. Others are also relaxed, waiting for the last round of games in Europe to determine their final squad. Yesterday, we saw Brazil drop their final 26-man squad.
Seleção, right?
Yes.
That's how we call them.
You remember, the biggest omission from that Brazil squad? Roberto Firmino.
And I'm like,
and
what?
It's surprising.
Yeah. 18
games, 12 goal involvement, and Firmino sits out.
Yeah, how?
And the surprising inclusion in that list has been the inclusion of Dani Alves at 39 years.
Yeah, 39.
Yeah. I think after the release of the Brazil squad, reports, like so many reactions on social media. This morning, I've read an O Globo, a newspaper in Brazil, and then Tite is saying that, look, he's not here to please social media or to please Twitter users. He's named the squad he feels could do the job for Brazil. So yeah, let's come back to our
Firmino is a big omission, really.
I feel if you look at the kind of attackers available to Tite, well, it's quite understandable.
All right then.
So back to the Black Stars.
Yeah.
We are expected to
our
name
favorite Black Stars.
You know, when everybody was waiting to name 26, we decided to go with the 55 first.
Okay.
And the timing of that 55 was so accurate, you know. It came at a point where the sports minister had read the budget for the World Cup.
Yeah.
It was about the discussion was about the budget, and all of a sudden we see the 25-man list.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting.
We see the 55 list.
Yeah, 55 list. So let's take it to what is likely to happen later this week. Otuado is likely to name.
So for those watching us,
yes,
I mean,
this was the 55 we saw last week Friday. From this list, Otuado is expected to name a final 26-man squad. Tell you what, there are some surprising names that we are hearing could miss out on a spot in Qatar.
Fill me in.
We are likely to see Kofi sit out.
No way. No way.
That was exactly my thoughts when I also came about it. But then we read reports he had picked up an injury. Reports also in Germany says it was just an illness and then he should be fine by Wednesday. So we are waiting what the final decision will be. But we are likely to also see Mubarak Wakaso go to the World Cup. We are likely to see Mubarak Wakaso go to the World Cup.
Mubarak Wakaso.
Really? Mubarak Wakaso.
Okay, well, Dani Alves is going, so Mubarak Wakaso going won't be a surprise.
So,
anyway.
I'm not saying it's actually...
I'm sure he still has his work rate in there.
At the moment, yes. But then if you look at the materials available to Otuado, you feel there are some players who could actually be up there instead of Mubarak Wakaso.
Okay.
This is the case. Mubarak Wakaso last played for the Black Stars during the Kirin Cup. I think prior to the start of the season, he wasn't having a club, and then he had to move to Kas Open in Belgium, where he's played quite fairly. But then if you look at the period between he getting a club and his performance and what others are doing, probably some players have also played their hearts out and they deserve a chance in the Black Stars team. If you go to the striking department, one name that people have been mentioning, and then as to whether he's cut for the Black Stars or he's not, Felix Afenajan could also be dropped
out.
Yeah.
For him, I won't be so sad seeing him off. He still has years on his or time on his hand. So exactly. He's young.
That's
just that there should be people to manage his disappointment. If it happens so that he's been left out of the squad. So if he's managed well,
one thing we were all looking out for when he left AS Roma was the fact that he was going to play better at Kimonisi.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened. He's not started too many games for the club, and then it's a bit worrying. I feel should he miss out, as reports has it, then that is probably the reason why he's missing out, because he's not played enough. And then anytime he's done quite good for the Black Stars in some 2 games, but then that is not an indication that he should be in the list for the World Cup. I feel club hasn't played too well for him, and then it could be a reason why he's missing out. On the local scene, we could see all 3 players miss out. Daniel Friebanier, in fact 4, Daniel Friebanier, Dennis Kosa, Danlad Ibrahim, all could miss out. This is the issue. From the list that we have at the moment, it means we are taking 3 typical number 9s. Inaki Williams, Kwesi Ocheret, and then Jordan Ayew to the World Cup. So for those who were looking out to see any local player, I'm sorry, there could be disappointment for us. But then it also goes along with to tell us that, look, we've got to put work in our local league. I feel Sam had a good chance of going to the World Cup.
But Barnier has really proven that he deserves a chance at the World Cup, hasn't he?
It's a bit dicey.
Anyway,
and
but
some
for you, what
seen,
will be your first 26 if you should name your squad?
We'll have some surprising, not so surprising. Someone like So in the goalkeeping department, I feel I would, and I say I would because I know the kind of comments I might be receiving. So Jojo Olakot, Richard Ofori. I would have preferred Manaf, but Manaf is not playing enough. So Danlad would have been fit for me. If you go to the defensive department, I think Mohamed Salisu is a no-brainer. He should go. Daniel Amati, Alexander Jiku, Tariq Lamptey, Dennis Odoi. At the left back position, we have Gideon Mensah, we have Abaraman, we have Ali Diseidu, who is...
I'll let them pull up their squad, the 50-55, so that it could help you name your squad.
I think
out of that,
Salis is in the midfield department.
So there's a list.
Name in the midfield department as well, I'm picking Thomas Partey, yes. Idrisu Baba. I'll jump the next 2. Elisha Usi is okay for me. Salis Abdul Samed, for his performances that he's put out there for Lens, I think he deserves a spot. Andre Ayew, I feel deserves a spot. One player I would have named is Majid Ashimeru. Joseph Fentel should be there. Okay. And then this one I will personally fight if he misses out. I feel for everything he's doing this season, he should be there. Mohamed Kudus should also go. Daniel Kofichre. Well, Jeffrey Schlupp should go. Okay. I don't know why Jordan is among the wingers, but yes. Well, Jordan should be there as well.
That's where they
Kamal Dean, Osman Bukhari, Kamal Soa, and then I think Konisdorfer. In the striking department, Inaki
But Konisdorfer, okay, yeah, he's there. Konisdorfer, yeah.
Inaki Williams, Antoine Semedo, and then Kwesi Rex were okay for me.
Kwesi Rex.
Yeah.
So Caleb Kuban, Richmond, Boache.
Those two have not played too well or consistently enough to deserve a spot.
Interesting.
But then that is me.
Okay.
Otuado will have a different idea.
With that squad, can we make it to the semis?
The semis at this moment, I feel we have the right materials.
We've been to the quarter before, haven't we? So
the target
the
is
next step is semis.
I feel we have the right materials. Okay. Should we have a good technical bench, which we have, if they should implement the plans that they actually will sit down and then come up with, I think Ghana should do good at the World Cup. Forget the backlashes that some teams have. I feel we have quality as well. It's about how you manage the crop of players you have.
Okay.
If you're able to turn their heads into a game that they want to win, you get your results and you progress from the group stage and go.
Lawrence, I'm grateful. So that's how we wrap up sport, and that's how we conclude the bulletin for you. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace, do enjoy the rest of our shows. Good morning.